And for the recording started, guys, we've got a large number of you in. Just a reminder to keep mics on mute. Any questions in the chat? We've got various colleagues in there supporting that. We'll have some Q&A at the end with the guys from FSI, but I'll hand over now to Steve, who will share his screen and his presentation with us, and we'll go from there. But thanks for joining. Over to you, Steve.
Okay, evening everyone. I'll just share my screen. Oh, I haven't got host privileges.
2 seconds, Steve. Should be good now, Steve.
Okay, yeah, looks good. Okay, can we see that?
All good.
Excellent. All right, evening everyone. So this is about membership and finance. So start with the memberships. There are different types of membership schemes that can be created in GMS. So you've got an anniversary scheme, which is seasonal, which runs from a specified date for a year. A join date, which will start on the day someone purchases it and then finish on that same day the following year. And subscription memberships, which are an ongoing monthly membership, much like a gym membership, but does not have an end date. It just keeps going until the club cancels it or the user cancels it. You can add rules to the membership, so you can restrict them based on age, gender, certain roles. You can add discounts between certain dates or discounts for multiple memberships purchased. There's different payment terms. So you can offer a membership to be paid in full, which is a one-off payment at the start of the year, or you can set a membership to be paid in installments. You can choose the amount of installments. You can modify how much the installments are. You might want a bigger first installment and then smaller ones. Or you can even offer both. So you can give them the option of paying in full or having monthly installments. All the price history is kept in the finance module, so you can look at who's paid, who owes what. They're also offline memberships, so they don't have to be paid online. You can set them up as free memberships and you can allocate them to people. I know a lot of clubs have VP memberships that they do that for. So they're quite easy to set up. The merchant account and contract, that's all part of it. You don't need to set that up yourself. The settlements go back to the clubs, bi-weekly for credit cards and bi-weekly for direct debit. The fee is 1.95% on the transaction. There is an additional 10p charge for any transactions under £10 on a credit card. And that is it. That's the fees. There's no other hidden fees or settlement fees involved. So this is the home screen of the finance module in GMS. This tells you all your orders that are outstanding, any collection failures you've had. All these stats can be drilled through and will present you with the exact payments that have failed, for example, on the collection failures. And you can then action those. You can, for example, direct debit, you can reschedule it to a different date. You can cancel it, or you can even fire off an email to the individual to ask them to repay it. Underneath that, you get your settlements. That will be that in the cumulative total as you're going through the month, and it will work out what you're expected to be settled on the dates given. So that's in membership schemes. This is the membership scheme setup screen. So as I said earlier, you get the scheme type there, anniversary, join date or monthly subscription. You can give them types and categories, and that then applies when you're adding rules to the scheme. So for example, you could give a discount if an individual is buying 2 memberships of the same category. You got your scheme start date, so that's when the scheme is due to start. And then down here, you've got the prices. You can add multiple prices to a scheme. So if you want a scheme to be cheaper halfway through the year, you could add your first price for the start of the season. Then 6 months in, you can have another price there, which will then be charged once you get 6 months in for those people that join halfway through the season. The memberships carry through to the website. So I'm sure you're aware, we offer a free website that can be created that draws all its data from GMS. This includes the membership schemes. There you go, here's an example of a club website, and all their memberships are displayed. When the user clicks purchase, they will take them through to GMS, asked to log in, and then you can select those memberships and pay for them. It also works on mobile devices, so you get a mobile friendly view. Here you can see the memberships are displayed here. You get the option to buy. Then over the end here, you can pick your payment methods, and that depends on how the membership is set up, and then it will take you through to the payment screen to make that payment. So all the settlements are also listed in GMS Finance. You can go through, you can drill through on each batch number. That'll give you a list of all the transactions and payments that are included in that settlement and when it is being paid back to you. This is more for a review process, so you can make sure that the money is coming through correctly. All the settlements can be exported, so you can put your own filtering on. You can look at it by membership scheme. If you want to pick out how many people have bought a certain membership, what they've paid and what payments are coming back in each settlement. And again, on the membership dashboard in GMS, it breaks down each membership type you've got at your club, with how many individuals you've got in each status. So here, how many active individuals, how many pending, how many lapsed, how many suspended, what the outstanding balance is for those memberships, and how much money your club has taken. And over here on this side, you've got a cumulative total of all the memberships. Again, within GMS, in the members tile, you've got a membership list, which will list all the individuals with a membership at your club, what status they are. This screenshot just shows active, but you can use filters to pick up suspended ones or people that are pending, people that haven't completed their orders, and you can draw that data. That can all be exported again. Ooh. Okay, well, that was it. That was quite quick.
Thanks, Steve. Do you want to just, if you unshare your screen?
Yeah,
I'm sure there are a number of questions from a lot of people, but thank you for sharing the basics around finance and membership. just picking up some here. So question straight away from Rupert. What's the difference between pending and in progress for payments that have not gone through? That's one of the questions.
Sorry, can you say that again? Oh.
So what's the difference between pending and in progress for payments that have not gone through? It's from Rupert.
For a payment or an order?
For a payment.
Okay, so a pending payment will be one that hasn't completed yet. So it could be a direct debit that's waiting to be scheduled and being processed by the bank. In progress is when they've got to the payment screen but not actually entered any details, and it moves it to an in progress status. So they haven't completed payment for the in progress ones.
Okay, hopefully that answers your question, Rupert. If you've got any more to add, just drop it in the chat and we'll pick it up. Carol is asking around, what data do you store about the person, e.g. email address? Is there anything else, for example, post address, etc.?
In GMS, yeah, addresses are stored, email, telephone, home address, date of birth, first name, last name.
Excellent. Thanks for confirming that. One from Laura. How long from the transaction processed, i.e. putting my bank card details in, to going into the club's bank account? What's that time scale?
So as it said, the settlements are done bi-monthly. So we do a settlement on the 1st and the 15th of each month. So depending on when you process your transaction, it will fall into one of those settlements.
Very nice one. It's like quick fire. This is good. This good, really. One from Amy. So when someone moves to a new membership the next year, such as they become a VP, a vice president, they can still show as having their old one on GMS, but with it being expired. If they remove this, does it remove the person altogether or just their old membership?
No, so GMS will keep a record of all your memberships. So even the memberships that have expired will still show against your account, but they will show they're inactive or they're lapsed, and it will show the new membership that's active. Removing them doesn't do anything. The individual still stays in GMS. It's just the record of that membership you're looking at.
No worries. One from Claire. Are there any plans to allow reports or exports to be scheduled? Claire has to do this manually 2 times a month for the club treasurer. Just wondering if that's possible.
I'm not aware of plans of that.
Well, I guess just to elaborate quickly, as a general question, that might vary from club to club in terms of what each club's treasurer might want, the format of it, etc. I guess I might be treading on some treasurers' toes, because you could give them direct access to GMS and they could export the data themselves. That might be controversial if the treasurer prefers it to be exported and sent in a particular format, but that is obviously the other option.
Nice one. Thanks, Matthew. Cool. And then just a couple of users asking around, is there a guide that's available that we could then house on Community Rugby Help, the support centre? Is there a specific guide that FSI have produced around this, Steve?
There is a membership guide, yes. I haven't got it to hand at the moment, but yeah, there is one. I mean, if you want to email that club payments email, we'll be happy to send it out to you.
Excellent. So what we'll do, guys, is for everyone that's registered tonight, we'll send a direct copy of a link to that help guide, but we'll also house that on Community Rugby Help as well, so that it's easy to access. so you can look at it in your own time. Excellent.
I really thought there was already one on the help portal, to be honest. So if there isn't, we'll definitely make sure that put there. But yeah, absolutely more than willing to send it out to anyone who's interested. Just let us know.
Absolutely. Cool. And then, can you do part reimbursements if needed? That's from Laura. For example, if someone's injured and they've only played half a season, got injured, and they've jacked it in for the season, is that possible to amend in the schemes?
We can do part refunds, yes. I believe we're managing that at the moment. So again, that would be through the club payments email.
Cool.
But
I
yeah,
think
and I'll just say the time frame on there is the same as a normal refund. I think it's 5 working days once it's processed.
great stuff. I think Dan's going to, or Chloe's popping in that email address for you guys to access for any other membership queries. That'll be the email address to go to direct to FSI's team, and they can take them. One from Neil: at the end of the season, is there a way to make all current members inactive?
You can update the status of any of the memberships in GMS. So you can go to the membership list grid. You can filter it by a specific membership if you like, select all those individuals and set them all to inactive if that's what you need to do.
Excellent. I've just a couple more coming in. Keep the questions coming, guys. I know now's the time to ask. Are there any plans to have a parent-friendly app to make registration and affiliation easier? We're currently exploring that, and we'll communicate out to the game in due course once we have a bit more information. One from Laura again: is this limited for membership only, or could this be used for product income, for example, kit orders?
Yeah, you can create products, and they're very similar to the way memberships are created. Again, you can add rules to them. You can set up different prices and payment plans for them. So yeah, you can use products as well.
Yeah, it's probably just worth, I guess, based on that question, I'm assuming you're not that familiar with how it works. So products are separate to memberships. So you can have, say, a kit product that you create in GMS, and you can actually have that as an add-on to the membership. So people get the option to purchase the add-on kit product as part of the process of purchasing the membership. So they are, I wouldn't recommend you use the membership process to manage it. There is a separate one for products of that nature specifically. And as Steve mentioned, again, you can add various rules. I mean, for a lot of you, I know this is or something you already know, but you can add various rules to the memberships and products to say, you know, can't be purchased by under 18s, get a discount if you're an active member, all sorts of stuff like that. So have a play around with them if that's something you want to explore a little bit within your club. There's lots you can get up to if you want.
Excellent. One in from Rowena. Can we create a mixture of seasonal, join date, and subscription memberships? Do they all have to follow the same setup? So I'm guessing there, you know, could you have different
Yeah,
ones?
absolutely. Yeah, you can have as many different ones as you like. Entirely up to the club.
Yeah, nice. Key one there. Every club's different. Different memberships for all different types of members. So yeah, that's a great one.
Most clubs do have a whole plethora of memberships. Of all the clubs that use it, it's very rare you'll find one that has a generic membership format, because you've got lifetime members, honorary members, and all. Yeah, you can imagine all sorts.
Cool. One from Jenny. She has some parents who have put their membership under themselves instead of their child. Does this matter, and could they change that?
Yeah, as an admin user, you can move a membership from, say, for example, if they've bought it for themselves instead of their child, or vice versa, you can swap the membership between the two. That's quite an easy process.
Cool, thank you. Thanks, Steve. One from Lee. Is there a simple way to use the membership and match fees model? So do match fees have to be a product? or could
As
they
it
be a product?
stands, they do have to be a product. Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey, Lee, if you've got any more on that, drop it in the chat for me. One from Laura. How would the membership unique website page be linked to a club website? It's probably a good bit just to answer this, because in this question it says around, could it be to pitchhero.com? Is that customizable to suit each respective club? So might be just worth touching on how it links to an FSI based website, Steve. So
the website that we provide, there is a built-in, it comes as part of the standard template with the memberships that are created in GMS, and it draws all that data from GMS to the website. So it only displays what you want it to display. I'm not sure about other websites though, Matt.
If you're using another website, you'd be able to publish the link directly to your club's GMS membership page, but that's as far as that would go in terms of the integration from that end.
Thanks, Dan. Top stuff. One from Carol. Do you charge 10p for a monthly direct debit under £10? Just to clarify that.
Yep. That is right, yes. Yes.
Correct. Yeah, I thought that was right from the presentation earlier. Thanks, Carol. Thanks for that again. Stephen, do you have any information on VAT on certain memberships?
Dan? I don't know that one.
What was that question again?
It's on VAT, so that's specific to whether the type of membership that you're selling. So we have all the options available in the system. So basically, when you create the membership scheme, you select the different type of VAT that you'll be using, or if you'll be using at all. So it is all available there to you. But that's obviously for you guys to manage yourselves in terms of what should and shouldn't be.
Excellent. And I think that's a lot of the questions, if not all, answered there now. So if you've got any further questions, please do drop it in the chat. I know you might be thinking of some. Here we go. Laura, how is this system more beneficial than just sending bank account details to prospective members? So I suppose why use FSI membership for membership?
I suppose the salient points of this is essentially reducing your admin overhead. So if you send people detail information, obviously they've then got to manually pay you, and then you would then subsequently need to track that payment into your bank account for each individual person, and then manually manage whether or not that person is a member. If you've got a small number of members and you only run one-off payment annual memberships, why not? I guess saves yourself the 1.95% transaction fee. If you've got any sort of volume of members, especially if you're doing monthly direct debits, then you're then into checking the bank account for each payment, cross-checking it against what that membership record has. All of that is removed if you do it via the system. And essentially it just means you remove the human error element. You don't need to manually check anything because the system does it for you. The system will tell you if someone's direct debit has failed, if they've missed a payment, etc., etc. I mean, it's mainly all about managing data, minimizing mistakes, and making sure that, let's say, one person that's responsible, or it can be more than one person that has access to the information if you so wish at your club, so you can share the load across different teams or whatever you need to do. So yeah, that's the crux of it ultimately.
There are also different sort of features and things that are available to clubs in GMS, such things like point of sale, which will then allow you to offer things like membership discounts, and that's all part of the same system. So that's all integrated. And so, for example, if I don't pay my monthly DD this month, I don't get my discount on the bar. And you'll find a lot of clubs have found that that has helped with membership revenue quite drastically.
Excellent. A few more questions coming in now. Thanks, Matthew and Dan. Just one from Keith. Is the 10p for the direct debit under £10 in addition to the 1.95%?
Yes.
Yes.
So
cheers.
it's an additional fee on top of everything under £10.
Yeah, I
Excellent.
think it's probably worth addressing that point. Essentially, the way the GMS fee structure works is it is just 1.95%. You'll notice most other providers will layer additional charges on top of that. So for example, you get the 1.95% plus the processing fee plus other things. So with GMS, you don't. And because the fee effectively is so small, when you get to payments lower than £10, it would actually cost more in banking charges for us to process that transaction than ultimately we would make. So there has to be kind of almost an arbitrary cutoff, and it's £10. But yeah, if you slightly restructure your membership payment, so if you make it say £10.50, then obviously you wouldn't incur that 10p. So it's, yeah, be astute in how you structure it a bit if the 10p transaction fee is an issue for you, I suppose.
Excellent. Thanks for explaining that further, Matthew. One from Laura again. Can this be linked? Can you set specific sections only within the club? For example, women's section only, separate from the main club. The reason being so that non-committee people cannot have access and view accounts details and finances.
Matt?
I'm just trying to think, actually. It's an interesting question.
I mean, you can separate the memberships out with the membership rules.
Sorry to interrupt, gents. So essentially, I'm just wondering, would, say, like the women's section of a club have to potentially separate from the main club on GMS to have that functionality? Because if the overarching main club committee of loads of different people have access to the central thing, they'd obviously be able to view those accounts and details as well. Like, would it be more beneficial just to create like a whole new GMS registration system that is separate to the main club?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I mean, you're right, ultimately, and it would go both ways. So I suppose that anyone with that role from the women's section would also be able to see, everything else. So if that is an issue and there needs to be that division of access, then you are touching into an area where maybe you need two separate organisations. Whether that necessarily needs to be an entirely new club, I don't know. There may be other alternatives to that. But
yeah, I guess like if it doesn't have that functionality already, is that something that is in progress that could be essentially put in? Because the only alternative that I can think of would be to have that separate club account completely.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's an interesting point. Genuinely, I don't think it's ever been raised before. I mean, anyone from the RFU or Steve, anyone else, correct me if I'm wrong. No one else has ever asked for that, but it's an interesting one. So cards on the table, no specific functionality to kind of create divisions within an actual club. But there are options, like, for example, having, say, separate sub-organizations within a club, which you could then restrict. So that's there already, and that was kind of what I was alluding to. It's not really used within the traditional RFU structure and use of GMS.
Yeah, but would that then link with the membership finances then in that subcategory as well?
Well, it would effectively, they could operate almost independently. So you would have separate roles for each organization, and if somebody was relevant in both, then they would just have access in both. But as I say, I guess we just need to work it through with you to make sure we weren't getting in the way of anything else like registrations and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm sort of thinking off the top of my head based on your question. But as I say, yes, in theory it works, but you're the first person that's ever asked. So I'd be interested to know if there's any other clubs in a similar position, or on how I guess one to take away, Ian, for the RFU, really how we might want to manage that if it's a wider.
Yeah, one to take away. So the system, obviously we have to cater for the masses here, and that's obviously the first time that's come up. So one to take away, but if there are any clubs on this call who have that, then please do submit a ticket onto the Community Rugby Help Centre. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Laura. One in from Gemma that I'll take, and that is, please can I check that I'm right when I say there is no correlation between those that have paid a membership via the website run by an FSI or or a club that's using GMS to manage their payments, and they have said the affiliation process, but that is now known as the age grade registration process from the 3rd of July. No, there is not a correlation there. So the registration process is an RFU regulatory requirement for all age grade players to be registered to play rugby. Now, some clubs align that to their memberships. So there are a number of clubs who, from the 3rd of July, are very happy because they make revenue over the summer period, which would normally be a quiet time, because they align their membership schemes to start from the 3rd of July. So it's a one hit for their membership, for their parents. They do their membership and they register little Johnny. So that's that process. So there is age grade registration, and the season switches over within GMS on the 3rd of July. So that means on the 3rd of July, the season will change over to the 23-24 season. Every player that has been affiliated for this season, 22-23, will reset to 0. And from the 3rd of July, parents and guardians will be able to renew registration of their children. So there will be communications going out to age grade registrars next week to give them the heads up of those communications that will go direct, but just to clarify that because it is linked to some of the membership stuff.
Thank you, Ian. Could I, sorry to chat, and I know we should be typing, but I'm not quick enough. I get that and I understand how that works and why that's like that. But I think Rachel also mentioned in the chat that because those two processes aren't tied up in any way, we force everyone through the website. They pay through FSI. We're tickety-boo with that. It works pretty nicely for us. Thank you. That's all great. And then we spend the entire season chasing them to affiliate / now registration. So I was just wondering if there's any kind of correlation that we can make or linking of that to, because the admin burden is now affiliation, not payment.
So not every club uses GMS
No.
to manage their memberships. A significant proportion of clubs don't, and some do. So it would only work for a certain number of clubs if that was to be the case. So really, it's going to be down in that particular case to how you communicate that messaging internally with your club membership, and yeah, aligning that message really.
Okay, that's fine.
No worries.
My understanding was right. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. Have I seen is there any more questions coming in? Let's have a look. Rebecca, can members and or administrators amend their bank details partway through the season if they pay by direct debit?
Yeah, they can do. They can update that at any point. So they can just log in themselves, or the club can do it for them.
Excellent. Cheers, Dan. Top stuff. A few more coming in. Got a few. Not sure on the Laura question. Do you mean stuff like Spond or other systems? Laura, do you want to come off mic and just say? Not sure what that is.
Hi, sorry. So just with you saying that some people don't necessarily use
GMS
GMS as a membership system, do you mean that they just do the RFU registrations and then they use something like Facebook groups or Spond or something?
Yeah, there's a number. Yeah, loads of clubs do different things depending on what they do. Some clubs use GMS and wrap it all in house. Would you probably reduce a bit of volunteer workload there in that case as well? Because it's all linked, website, fixtures, everything, so they haven't got separate things. But then, yeah, equally, there are other clubs that use various different third parties to communicate, Spond being one of them, and various others. Laura, is there a way to kick people off from GMS admin who have not paid membership? It again, internal club thing, but yeah, you would be able to. It would depend on your permission levels, etc. But a person who hadn't paid membership, that would potentially be possible. Steve, am I right with that bit?
Yeah, you can add and remove permissions from individual accounts as you like.
Excellent. One from Sal. How can you get round a separate email requirement for each member if a parent has 4 children and only has 1 email address?
So I believe
So-
now you can add the same email address to different accounts. Is that correct, Chloe?
No, you can't. It needs to be a unique email.
So
Apologies.
if you're using children, they aren't required to have an email.
Yeah.
So if they're, as long as they're linked to the individual parent, they're under that specific age as a child, then they don't need an email themselves. So you only put the parent's email in once.
Yeah, that's correct. And the parent would buy the membership and they can allocate it to the children. So say they were buying 4 different types of memberships for different age grades, 4 different schemes that are set up. The parent would go in and they could allocate for which child they're buying that membership scheme for and then purchase it and be allocated to that relevant child. So yeah, Dan's right. You don't need an email address for under 18s.
One from Dan. I understand that previous season's members are marked as expired at the beginning of September. What happens to a member who has already paid their new season subs by that date?
So it depends on the scheme set up. So, for example, you can have like a pre-season purchase window. So some clubs may start selling the memberships in the start of June. And basically, as soon as the membership start date of that scheme starts, the new scheme will become active. So if I set up available from purchase from today, I go and purchase it, and on the 1st of September, I will then automatically have an active membership with my new season that's been paid for.
Excellent. All learning a lot of knowledge tonight, which is
Sorry.
good.
Sorry, can I just leap in there because it was my question.
Go on, Di.
I did it myself because being the treasurer, start of May, I paid my subs. By September, I was no longer a member. And I spent the whole season not being a member because I hadn't paid my subs because I'd paid them early. And I just wondered how you get around that.
I think we'd have to look at that. It might have been a case that you potentially bought the season that was ending. We'd have to look at that as a specific example because as far as I'm aware, you should be able to purchase a pre-season. And then as soon as that membership start date, you would
I didn't, and as treasurer, I got a lot of grief for it.
I can imagine.
It'd be a good one for us to take away and have a look at how that specific membership scheme was set up at your club, because as Dan mentioned, I would imagine it's something to do with the way you set the scheme was set up and what you actually bought in the system, rather than it not working that way, if you know what I mean.
So, Di, it might be worth if you drop an email to the club payments website. One of the guys will pop that email address in the chat, and then they'll pick that up for you. Just another one. If you've got more than 1 kid playing, can you set up multiple direct debits for this? Let's come in.
Yes, you can have a payment plan for each membership that you purchase.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Another one just from Lee. With registration and membership, do both show against the player that was selected? Lee, if you want to come off mic and explain that a bit more, if it's easier. If not, no worries.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good, Lee.
Yeah, basically, I was responding to the previous question about someone saying, well, affiliation or registration as it now is, and finance linked. They're not physically linked, but if you look in the player section of GMS, I know that one of the reports, in there. They've got to be registered, I guess, to appear as a player. And one of the reports in there is the player a member, yes or no? So although they're not linked, there is probably one place where you can look and see both answers in one place, which just might help management a bit.
Get that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm aware of that. That's great. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing that, Lee. Top stuff. And just another good example that someone's put in the chat you might not have seen is just at Claire's club, they send out payment links after registration. If they don't purchase at the time of registration, but they then don't enable purchase via website. So that's what they do at Claire's club. And then one in from Rebecca, they have a family membership scheme, which gives 50% discount for a parent and child. So they both show as members on the GMS. If they pay by direct debit, it takes 2 separate payments out, which means they each pay under £10. So we are being charged more for having our scheme set up this way. So maybe one to, then you've got a straight answer there, Steve or Matthew or Dan, but might be one to take away.
Yeah, I think that's probably one to send to us and we can have a look into it without sort of looking at the exact amounts and dates and things like that. It's quite hard to give an answer here and there. But yeah, if I've chucked the email into it's clubpayments@first-sports.com. So if there are any questions that we don't cover off today or we think need a bit more explaining, please just send it through to that email.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dan. One from David. Gets the different types of membership. Just wants to know, is it possible to have a membership that ends on a date, for example, the 30th of June, and it's not dependent on when it was purchased?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so your anniversary scheme is it starts and finishes on specified date.
Cool. Another question from Laura. Can they pay more than one membership on the one direct debit?
Yes.
Good stuff. And then one from Rob. He's just sharing that we have our parents set at free and full price for the child. This would only be one payment. That's what Rob does at his club. So some good sharing of what other clubs are doing as well. Thanks for doing that, guys.
That would also tackle your question about the DD and paying 10p's if you pay it all on one individual. And for example, around the rules you can set up. So if you purchase a specific membership with this membership, the first membership is 100% discounted, for example. So there are a lot of rules on there that you can manage. So as we said, if there's anything that you think are a bit quirky and things like that, and need extra explaining, please just send them through and we can take a look and guide you on those.
I would say that example is a very astute use of the not incurring the 10p below £10 charge. There are lots of creative ways clubs do it. So yeah, that was a good example of one of them.
Excellent. Cool. Any more questions around the membership? Someone's put, I understand annual, but we run 9-month memberships. Is that possible, Steve?
At the moment, the memberships are annual. But what you can do is configure the amount of payments. So you can ask for it to be taken in 9 payments. So you make sure you get your money in the 9 months. The membership will run for the year, but you've got your money in.
Sorry to jump in. We run 9 months from the start of the season to the end of the season, so it clears membership. Basically, for the end of next week, we have to manually go through and clear all the memberships, so then they're all clear for when people go back on, because they'd normally buy them in September, and they'd be running 2 memberships for the last part of the year. It'd be good if you could configure a membership that ran for 9 months, then ended, and it started on the 1st of September or whenever, and ended 9 months later. And it was a fixed date, so it didn't run for 12 months.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, because at the moment you can't do that, and it's a pain to go through and clear everyone's memberships.
But David, in your example, would you not be able to use the anniversary example that Steve gave earlier? So if you set up a scheme that that ends on that specific date, irrespective of when you join, you know, in essence, would that solve your problem?
But that doesn't start at the start of the season. That would start 3 months before the start of the season. We run a 9-month season, don't we? So we just want the memberships to run for 9 months and then clear.
You could set it so if it started on the first anniversary on the 1st of September with 9 instalments, so they pay for that at the first of each month for the first 9 months, and then they would have an active membership up until the 1st, and you could basically, if it's for all your schemes, you could just go into membership list, select all, and just update them all at once, and just on the 30th of September, if that's the final day, you would just set them all to inactive. So everyone would then be, so it should just be a click of really 3 buttons to do that for everyone.
Yeah, we're annual memberships technically over 9 months. So it's just one payment, 9 months.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe that's something that we can take forward and let you know. I think there might be a simpler way by the sounds of what you're doing currently.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely one to catch up with.
Okay. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, Lee, there is an end date field in the membership. Can that be set to whatever you want?
Is this an individual record with the membership? I take it. If it is, then yes, you can. You can use the update membership function to add an end date of whatever you want to that membership record.
Excellent. Thanks, Steve. Laura, it's okay.
Oh, no, sorry. Can I just back in? I was thinking more of the previous person's question. If he could set the end date to the end of his season, then would that not solve his problem?
Yes, you could. Yeah, so everyone would still get their annual membership, but you'd move the end date 3 months in, and it would finish. The membership would finish then.
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that clarifying, Lee, and thanks for that, Steve. Laura, it's okay. We know you've got lots of questions and going to committee later, so that's good that you're asking all these questions. It's great. I don't think it really will affect, but Laura's question here is, how will this potentially affect? I don't know what your question is there really specifically about, Laura, around how this sort of potentially affects dual reg transfer temp players. Do you mean the membership? I don't really understand what you mean.
Yeah, I do. Sorry. So I not only within this current role, I also do stuff with the university as well, and they have students that play in a student league, but then also within like local club leagues and stuff on a weekend as well. And I guess that with the memberships, how they're set up, if say you was to set up like a student membership fee, could you then, for them already having a membership fee, offer a discount on a second membership fee based on them already being a member of someone else? If that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
You
wouldn't be able to buy from different, not from a different organisation, but you can have, for example, schemes that aren't available to the public. So if you had, say, 20 students like that, you could have a private scheme that you as an admin could apply to them and apply the certain price and a discount on, because you know that they're a member of another club, and then not show that available to everyone else.
Perfect.
Thanks, Laura. That's good. Yeah, I suppose I've seen the comments around, if you haven't got an email address, how can you use GMS? That's the way that we have to use GMS. But you have to have a unique verified email. So maybe if there's any, if they're vulnerable individual learning difficulties, is there anybody within the club that could help support them? Maybe is there someone that could help, a guardian of that person to help them use use an email account? There's just maybe some solutions that could be looked at there. Cool. Are there any more questions? please come off mic if you've got any other questions. You can instead you don't have to think about typing now in the last few minutes. So if you've got a burning question, please come off. If not, thanks for coming tonight. Really appreciate you giving up your time. I think hopefully you found that really beneficial. The guys been there, good at answering all the questions. Yeah, any question's a good question. So thanks so much for coming on and joining. Remember, this session has been recorded and will be available on our Platform for Rugby YouTube channel. The link will probably go in the chat, but I will send up a post-event follow-up where you'll get a direct link to this recording. I'll pop in the email address for FSI for any membership queries that you want to ask that maybe you didn't want to ask tonight, or maybe on reflection you thought about post-session. Then we can get that across to you. So that will come out later this week, by the end of this week. So hopefully get that out by Friday. But thanks so much for all your time. Really appreciate it. And I hope you're looking forward to the 23-24 season. Thanks for your time. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.